Saturday, December 28th, 2019. People are talking about the parabolic move coming into Bitcoin, and we should see it in our indicators as it's unfolding, and that's what we're going to focus on in today's episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. Before I get into the episode, I don't normally spend a lot of time looking at news and reporting on it, but somebody shared this in our Discord chat, and I went and did a search on it, and sure enough, Germany is restricting the buying of gold. And of course, we don't have to just trade gold by buying gold. We can trade gold using our Bitcoin over on simplefx.com. There is a referral link in the description down below if you were going to go check it out and join us as we are trading gold, silver, platinum, oil, the S&P 500, a huge range of stocks, tons of great stuff over there. At the end of the episode, I'm also going to talk about the big changes coming to cryptocurrencies. And if you're not prepared for this opportunity now, you're definitely going to be FOMOing in later. And we'll talk about that at the end of the episode. Let's jump into the charts, because I've been trying to use this kind of chart where we have all three indicators on the chart at once. And my eye just doesn't work as well for that kind of stuff. What I want to do is start off with the really short time frames here today and work our way backwards. If we are going parabolic, we should see that in our short-term indicators first, as the nose of the plane is lifting off and the rest of the market must follow it. We'll see it go through the time frames from the short time frame and peel back through the longer and longer time frames until we're into the weekly. So generally the 5-minute doesn't give me a lot of perspective on things, but it is the point of the arrow. So I'm going to zoom back out from this and see what we can start to see in the 15-minute. And I'm looking for RSI to be building strength, to be going up right now, if this is what the case is. Let's zoom out to the 1 hour time frame. Now from this point, I'm looking for divergences. I'm looking for the momentum of it. And in the 1 hour time frame, unless I'm trading this very front edge, it still doesn't give me a lot of perspective about the momentum of our things. Now as we get out to the 4 hour time frame, things are starting to shape up. Now we can see that we have a double bottom, and we're starting to see some really good divergences in the RSI building up here, which would give us the next stage and the next stage as we are building up. We should expect that the RSI is going to go up and pull back, go up and pull back, and go up and pull back all the way along in this time frame as we go through the uptrend. The longer time frames should be more steady, where they start to go up and they start to build this long-term momentum. Instead of this long-term down momentum, we should be now staging longer-term up momentum like we saw here, higher and higher and higher lows as we are taking off. Then we go into the longer time frames again for this. Same thing we're looking for here is this trend now. We've got the break of this trend. Now we're watching for this one to establish itself and keep going like this all the way along as we go parabolic. And on the weekly time frame, this will also see break this down trend line. We haven't seen it yet. When it comes up above this, we're going to see our formations building and breaking above the 1, 2, 3 formations on the shorter time frames. Should this break and continue down, we do have more potential for prices to give us the breakdown from where we are right now. There is still that potential. Let's go on to the next indicators and see what they're saying. Starting off with the 5-minute time frame, this was important for me the other day when I saw this setup and these big skewers of buying going on. Definitely a no to lower prices right there. And as we zoom back, we can see the nature of the buying is coming in short waves as prices are coming down to the Bollinger Band mean reversion area, coincidentally. Let's zoom out a bit now and see how this turns out over time. The 1 hour time frame gives a little bit more perspective, but still not that good. If I go to the 4 hour time frame now, this starts to give me more perspective on the changes that are occurring. We can see that there's quite a bit more buying going on through here and quite a bit less selling through these areas. So we can average it out that we see a lot of selling going on here through this top before the thing broke. We see the selling going on here, and then we see that the buying comes in off of this bottom, and the buying comes in off of this bottom here. So we do see a downtrend in the selling and more, well, not an uptrend yet in the buying. We really have to see this pick up, but it's giving us clear momentum changes. I'm going to do more work on this indicator to give it more averages and moving averages and stuff in there and see what that does. Let's zoom out to the longer time frame. Here again, this gets more clear that we had a good swell of buying going on quite a while before the big surge went up. So if we are looking for parabolic move up from here, we need to see some sustained buying for longer than we have right now. So if there is opportunity to get in at the bottom before the sustained buying comes in, this might be it. I'm still not completely convinced yet that the buying is enough yet to bring us into a parabolic move. I think we've got a lot more sideways to go yet. Let's zoom in on out to the daily time frame now. Again, we can see there was a lot of buying swell before things really took off. So while it could be taking off from here, not quite yet. Not quite yet. We might be in a very near place to this. Let's see what our other indicators are telling us as this bottom sets itself up from here. The weekly view actually looks a lot more bullish than the daily view does. This dumping finished and turned to positive and off we went. This dumping doesn't seem as deep through this period and really seems to have that ending trend right here. Should we start crossing to the positive on this weekly as we're breaking up above this area, that's confirmation. Starting off in the very close time frame for the MACD now, I'm watching for the point of the nose to be pulling itself up. From the 5-minute time frame, it should start lifting and breaking above these formations here. And just, they're clear to me, so I often don't talk about them even so much. But as we're seeing these prices retest previous highs and lows, it creates natural 1, 2, 3 formations. We have a 1, 2, 3 top formation here, and we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here, right in this area. So should this break higher and then break higher, that's giving us bullish divergences and the 1, 2, 3 formation breakouts. That's a trend following pattern as this breaks out. And we should see that starting to break higher in all of these indicators here as we go through time frames now. As I zoom out, we should see this setting up and getting ready to go positive. As I go out to the 1 hour time frame, we should see the same thing, that this is crossing to the positive from this point here. We should see these histograms go into a more positive green state and the lighter green of this as we are moving up and out. So that's really good to see this doing a wave through the uptrend. As this trends up, this should wave, pull back, wave, pull back. Now in this time frame, we can see the double bottom here, but we can also see this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's a failed retest of this recent low. It came down to this low and then it retested it again. And now as it breaks above these levels, that is the trend following buy signal. And we're looking for the confirmation of the MACD to be crossing positive and have higher crosses to the positive all the way along. So this is a really bullish divergence to have these crosses to the positive happening higher and higher. So this is the front of the plane lifting up right now, and we're starting to see that momentum building into this market on the 4 hour. Beautiful chart. Love to see it. Love to map it out. Especially here on the 12-hour time frame, we're seeing this divergence build up for a much longer time, where we have 3, 4 higher crosses all in a row while we had lower lows going on here. So this is shaping up to be a beautiful 1, 2, 3 formation when it breaks out from here. And you'll notice we didn't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, A, B, C, D, E's for the entire Elliott wave principle. All we need is just the end of the Elliott wave, and keep watching for the end of the Elliott wave. And there it is. Especially when we see these indicators all setting up. I just love this. When we go into the daily time frame now, more of this divergence really setting up, so long as this stays positive. Should all of these start to cross to the negative and nosedive, it's going to happen fast, and it's going to cascade, and we're going to wreck all of those longs, and we're going to get a skewer down to these levels before it pops back up, and there will be a big rejection in that, and off we'll go in the uptrend. So pay attention to this range right now. High leverage trading in this range is dangerous. Add on after you're correct. Start off small in this range right now. It's definitely going to give us whipsaw. People are going to get wrecked. Let's go into the 1 week view. And this for me is more important than the daily view. Even though the daily is looking good and this is pulling momentum, should this cross before we get down into these depths, we have 2 higher lows on the weekly, which would make me go along with Carl Moon to say that we are absolutely going in a parabolic move. Should this cross over and go up, I'm going to be watching more of Carl's videos. Let's go on to the Ichimoku cloud, because this is another, for me, this is an indicator that it's going to go from like the plane lifting off. The front of it here in the shortest time frames is going to cross to the positive, and it'll just peel that buy signal all the way along through the different time frames. So here on the 5 minute, we're in the middle of the cloud, indecisive. It's not actually giving us that signal. And that signal will definitely match when this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation takes off on this time frame. We go out to the 15-minute time frame. We're seeing a larger 1, 2, 3 manifest now, and we're bouncing off the top of the green cloud. Still nothing really definitive. We're in the cloud. Nothing definitive. We are in the middle of the cloud for the 1 hour time frame as well. When we zoom in, we can see that the conversion line is above the baseline. We do have a twist to the positive. These are all positive buying indicators here on the 1 hour time frame for the Ichimoku cloud. Now let's go into the 4 hour time frame. This could be a buy signal in the uptrend, but only if this crosses back to the positive and we twist this cloud up on the 4 hour. So we could set an indicator on this and say that when, let's right click. We could set an indicator on this, an alert, to say that when this crosses over, we should be paying attention to it on this 4 hour time frame. That is the 1, 2, 3 formation manifesting. And we'll probably hear from the Liquidation Watch live stream some noise coming pretty soon as this is taken off. Let's go into the 12 hour time frame and see how this is shaping up for us. Zoom in on this. The conversion line is above the baseline right now. Should it cross back below, this would be a sell signal in the Ichimoku cloud downtrend. And I've been watching for it for a while, waiting to see if this is going to bounce off the cloud and then crash down hard. Or are we going to build up? The MACD really looks like we're crossing to build up. The earlier time frames of the Ichimoku cloud are going positive. We'll have to see how this plays out. Let's go into the daily time frame and zoom in. So the daily here has just crossed to the positive here with our conversion line above our baseline. That's the earliest indicator of a bull signal from the daily time frame. And yet we really have to burst up through the cloud and do some support on this to make this change trend levels. Let's go to the weekly, and then we'll do the Bollinger Bands, because the weekly Ichimoku is still way below the cloud. The blue line hasn't crossed above. We're not twisted to the positive yet. The weekly view of the MACD and the Ichimoku are still holding in the bearish view right now. Let's start off with the Bollinger Bands in the shortest time frame. So we do have the 1, 2, 3 top or the 1, 2, 3 bottom as this consolidates. And this time frame doesn't give me much, except I'm watching this 200 period moving average to see how we are doing. 15-minute time frame, we're in the middle here. And yet we're above that moving average. The 1 hour time frame, we're above the moving average, holding ourselves here. We can see that there's a mean reversion buy here and sell there. Still nothing in this short time frame for me. As I go to the 4 hour time frame, I am paying a lot more attention to this. Let me go back now. The 1 hour time frame is above our 200 period moving average. The 4 hour time frame is below the 200 period moving average. So should this break up above that as we are staging and breaking this 1, 2, 3 formation, these are all really bullish momentum indicators to show the direction of the momentum has changed. As we go into the 12 hour time frame now, what I'm looking for is the 1, 2, 3, the fact that we are above the midline on the 12 hour time frame is good, and that we're having a narrow band shaping up means that there's probably a larger move incoming. Since we have these double rejections here, I am starting to feel more bullish. On the daily time frame, it's squeezing down. We're above the midline. The weekly, however, we're still down below the midline, and it's starting to narrow on both sides. That is pretty good. We're above the 200 period moving average here on the weekly, but still below it on the daily, still below it on the 12, and below it on the 4 hour. So here, this is going to really show us going across that going across this exponential moving average on the 4 hour, then crossing the 12, then crossing the daily. As all of these bullish indicators are setting up, this is how we can stage into our trade more safely as things are going. So for me, the one big question here is the incredible increase in the number of longs versus the number of shorts as this market has gone sideways through this last month. It's unusual, and they it may turn out that they are correct. All of these longs are actually right, but it's still a precarious position that I am watching closely in all of these indicators. But for me, as Bitcoin is taking off, this is starting to become reminiscent of March of 2017. Everything did a pullback, and then Bitcoin started to take off, and all of the alts started to take off at the same time. And we could measure that by looking at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance topped out here at 1800 hours on December 23rd, as one of the guys in our Discord chat pointed out. As I pull this back from the 1 hour time frame and we zoom back now, we can see that this is a top formation. It's a double top formation from the end of October until now. And let's zoom out to the next time frame, to the 4 hour time frame. We can see that we are in a larger 1, 2, 3 top formation. And since we had a 1, 2, 3 right here, and we're back up retesting those levels and making a 1, 2, 3 top formation at a double top inside here, it's very, very powerful if this starts to come down. As Bitcoin prices are rising, all of the alts are going to be taking off. And I believe that our new laws and the new Cryptocurrency Act is giving investors clarity so that they can invest their hedge fund money properly. The big money can actually start to now get into crypto commodities versus crypto securities, and really know the difference between the crypto commodities, the crypto securities, and the cryptocurrencies. And so that's going to give altcoins legitimacy that we need in the market, and they are going to go absolutely crazy. And if you're not prepared for that, we did the work for you. Over the last year, we've been tracking every single day all of the moves in the cryptocurrencies. And since July, we've been doing everything on Binance as well. We have the data, which markets moved up through our swell of time through 2 different important periods. This period of time here, a bunch of alts revealed themselves to be good projects that investors are willing to put their money into. The market pulled back. Another chance, and those markets proved themselves out again, while a whole range of markets proved themselves to be flat. Nobody's buying into them right now. So we've filtered that list out, and we've got the highlights of which are the markets that the investors have already shown us interest in. The great thing is that they've all pulled back now into this neutral stance. So we can go through, we can select out the markets that are setting up perfect right now with 1, 2, 3s, with all of the divergences in our indicators. This is a heaven-sent opportunity for every one of us who are watching this right now. And if you want to take advantage of our training, head over to the website Introtocryptos.ca and sign up for a package that would serve your trading the best. That's it for today's episode. I'm completely stoked. This is much more fun than covering a bear market. I hope to see all you guys over on our Discord chat. Come and join us. We talk about all these markets all the time. So when something happens in Bitcoin prices, as it changes all of these indicators, I've got them set up now as alerts to come over to our free Discord and our free Telegram chat as well. So that you're not going to get pummeled with all sorts of useless alerts. You're going to get things that really match up with the momentum changes of Bitcoin prices, things that we're covering here on the daily live stream. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate you guys being here, and I look forward to the next episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin.